So here's the start of my level for my prototype called Galactic Kings. The player will be running around this giant golem and traversing his body. Down here you can see the character and how big the golem actually is to him. Let it load up. This character model and the movement system is called Invector. It's a free plugin for a free asset, I should say, for Unity. You can just download it directly from the store. It does get caught up on the hills at times, but as you saw, but it's pretty good overall. There's a free version of it and there's a paid version of it. The paid version gives you like melee combat and all kinds of different things, but I'm going to be coding my own melee combat system into this prototype. As you see, we're on the head here. We're going back down to this left arm, and I'm going to be putting some type of jumping puzzle up here so you can actually climb up and around the arm up to the top of the hand. Jump back down here. There's different hills and valleys. You can go under the golem, around, over, just about everything at different points of his body. So down here is his right leg. You could go under that. And I'm going to be hiding these things called scrap around the level. There's his groin. And then back over to his leg where we started. Here's the jumping puzzle I was referring to. So there's fire spitting obstacles around the different areas of the body, or around the different areas of the arm. Go up and around. There's a piece of scrap here that you collect, and up at the top left it shows how many you got. I'm gonna stand here just to show that it doesn't do any damage yet. It's just aesthetic. Go up and around. Jump a couple more times. This one I made a little further from the arm, just to give it a gap and a little more difficulty, as well as a piece of scrap. And then up here I wanted to place the blaster weapon that you get, so it gives you a reason to climb all the way to the top. Here I'm working on making the state machine for the skeleton enemy. So I put in my walk and run cycles. These are all animations, and now I'm going to be putting in a bull for is running, and then that gets triggered on these state transitions here. So if running is true, then we're going to set his animation to run, and on the inverse of that, if running is false, we're going to turn it back off, and he's going to be walking again. Up at the top, I was looking for speed, but I didn't have it yet, so I needed to add it. Speed equals 0, but it's going to take in a variable from the actual rigid body, I believe. And then this speed gets calculated, and if it's above 5 or 0.5, then it will transition to walk, and if it's below 0.5, it'll transition back to idle. And then the next thing I'm adding in here is an attack. That's going to go from idle to attack. There's going to be a trigger called is attacking. and make your transitions. Transition 2, you don't want an exit time, but you change the bool down here, or the variable down to is attacking, and then if this is true, then it triggers that attack animation. And once it gets done, it goes right back to idle. So here was a bug I found. So he looks like a turtle shell. This is the skeleton enemy, but all his limbs are sized smaller than they should be, and he was kind of turtling up and just rolling around. So here I'm showcasing the nav system I wrote. Basically, it takes in a certain if you hit a collider that is a nav point, and this is true, then your nav index or new nav index will go up or change to a different random value. And then it basically compares to see if the new nav index is the same as the old nav index. In that case, it's not gonna go to the same spawn point or to the same nav point. It's gonna give it another number, and it's gonna recheck. Now, as you can see here, as soon as it loads up, takes a second. Those blue spheres are the nav locations, the nav points. And he's starting to navigate between them. So he goes from one to the other, and these are all random. So he goes back and forth between these two a couple times, but he does go to that third one you can see in the back. There he goes. So his pathing is good. He turns around a little awkwardly. He starts moving in that direction and then slowly turns. But it's alright. He's kind of sliding a little too, but it's whatever. It's a prototype. It's not going to be the best yet. And then I think I start trying to attack him. See if I could get a couple combos off while he's navigating. And at this point, there's nothing to tell the enemy where I am, and nothing that makes him come after me for any reason, and that hasn't been coded yet. So he'll just continue to do his pathing thing. There's a small bug here where I kill him, and he continues his path to the next nav point, but he stops after that. So I'm gonna have to turn his navigation off. There's another bug, but the sword there, it doesn't drop down to the ground as it should. I think I fixed that in the later clip here in a couple minutes. This I was writing basically enabling and disabling weapon colliders, because I put box colliders on the arms and legs. And then I was changing it from arms to limbs to indicate that I can do an arm or a leg. And then I gotta add both the left leg and the right leg now. So I'm gonna copy and paste this down here. If limb is left leg, then I'm gonna do left leg box collider. Enabled equals true, and the same thing for the right leg. So the way this is working is in this animation, I have animation events that are being called during an animation itself. So at a certain keyframe during the animation, it's turning on the weapon collider to be able to collide with the enemy, and it's turning it off after it gets to a certain point. And then aside from that, what I didn't add at that point was the what do you call it? I didn't add disable all at that point, but I do in a little bit. So that would be called an idle animation, so I can turn off everything so it's not continuously attacking. Right now I'm putting the box colliders on its legs, and I'm populating that script that I wrote with those box colliders. The arms are already done. Now I'm gonna maximize this and then go to play, let it load up again. So now I can attack with both my arms and my legs. There's 3 attacks each, and I can swap between the two. So I could do a punch, a kick, a punch, a kick, a punch, a kick, or any variation between those 3. Well, 6 technically, because you got your arms and your legs. I forgot to tag these as player weapons, because without that they won't do damage to the enemy. And then go back in and check it again. This is all game dev is. It's just back and forth, checking, changing a few things, a few variables, making a few tweaks, going back in and trying it again. So I grab a couple guys and I go to kick them, but it pushed me back. And I realized that I didn't change these box colliders to is trigger, so that it doesn't push me back when I attack. And then we go back in and try it again. So I'm gonna pull one of them, or none. Let me get one of them. We got all 3 of them. Let's run away until a couple go back, and then we get one of these guys. And I did a combo and he's dead. I do a couple combos and he dies as well. Taking a second, there we go. Yep. So the attacking is working now for both the punches and the kicks. What is this? This is checking out the blaster. So he was able to shoot, but I had this bug where he would flip upside down like this, because his body wanted to aim at one position, and when I turned all the way around he still wanted to aim at that same position, which caused this funny little bug here. He's pretty he could run, and he's doing his animation for running like he would normally. So I had to write another script that fixed that. Basically it set the animation weight a certain way as you aimed. And here we go, we can actually shoot. And then these are actual projectiles. So that little ball at the end is the ball that hits them, and the blue trail is just a trail. It's a line renderer. And he's still pathing weird after his death. I added health, so now his health is set at 25. And I thought that was good, but you may not have seen it, or it may not have been added yet, but his health actually goes up slowly over time. Let's grab this piece of scrap, which does nothing at the moment. So here's one of the final versions of it. I got that blue vial I picked up is blaster energy, and that's what's on the backs of the skeletons now. So when you kill them, they drop their blaster energy, and you don't get too many blaster shots. I did more balancing at this point, and as well as not having them animate every time they get hit, because they were continuously stuck in a loop. But now it feels a lot better. And I got down at the bottom, 14 shots, 13 shots. So you want to use this sparingly because it takes 2 shots of a blaster to take them out, but it takes 2 full attack strings, I believe, to take them out with your hands. There's 1 attack string and 2. Yep. So go grab this piece of scrap and then shoot this thing. This is where it's going to keep some item. You shoot it, I think, 10 times. This was just something wrong with their pathing system, and they were just jumping all over the place. But that's been all I got. Thanks.